Alright, so a few days ago we made a pretty bold statement. Is buffalo cauliflower better than wings? Well, there's only one way to find out. Make it, eat it, and drop the verdict. Let's roll. Okay, so we know we're dealing with cauliflower, that's a given. But let's also introduce the other key players, and here they are. More on them later though. For now, let's prep the cauliflower. We can start by ripping all the leafy bits off. Then stick a paring knife in at an angle and run it along the base of the stem. Once you do a full circle, you should be able to just break off the stem. But that's not all of it, so to get rid of the rest, just repeat the procedure. Once that sucker is out, we have a clean head of cauliflower to work with. Now you should be able to see the stems of the individual florets. You can just cut at the base of those and release them. Take your time here and try and cut the florets whole. It really does add to the experience in the end when you have those shapes. Just have a look at this guy. Looks like a little cauliflower drumstick, doesn't it? You find the biggest florets round the outside, and the closer you get to the center of the head, the smaller the florets get. We can take the bigger pieces and cut them into halves. Or if they're really big, we can also cut them into quarters. We'll fry these in 2 batches according to size, but we're still trying to get them more or less uniform. For the dredge, we're gonna need 2 egg whites, and to separate those from the yolks, just crack the egg and carefully transfer the yolk from one shell to another over a bowl until the white pours out. If you find it difficult doing it this way, you can try something else. You just crack the egg in the palm of your hand and let the white run through between your fingers. And please don't throw out the egg yolks. In fact, let me drop you some knowledge and bust some egg yolk myths. Of all the proteins that we consume, eggs have the highest anabolic effect. But what does that even mean, Raul? It means not only absorbing that protein, but turning it into tissue. So not counting breast milk, eggs top the chart at 48%. Compared to that, only 32% of the protein that we consume from meat and fish is actually turned into body tissue, followed by 17% in soy and 16% in dairy. Now most of the nutrients in the egg are actually in the yolk. It has all the vitamins but C, choline that's good for the liver and the nervous system, carotenoids that are good for the eyes, 3 healthy fats, and they also boost your HDL cholesterol, which is the good cholesterol. What's even more fascinating is that the fat and cholesterol in the egg yolk actually boost the anabolic effect. Without the yolk, we're able to transform only 17% of the egg white into body tissue. So next time, think twice about getting rid of the yolks. We'll give the egg whites a little whip, just until they get a little foamy, but we're not trying to make meringue here or anything like that. By fluffing these up, they're just gonna coat the cauliflower better. Pour the eggs into a big bowl along with the cauliflower and give it a good toss. Realize that you've forgotten to season the whites, throw in a pinch of salt, and resume mixing. Now let's take care of the dry part of the dredge. In a wider, shallower container, add 4 tablespoons of flour and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, a good pinch of salt, some garlic powder. By this point you should be just used to me saying some instead of giving you measurements. Some hot paprika and some cumin. Just deal with it. I eyeball a lot of this stuff. Give it all a good mix and we're ready to roll the cauliflower into the dredge. Give that a really good toss and make sure you coat every single nook and cranny. At this point, I realized that I had some excess from both the dry stuff and the wet stuff. So I poured the wet stuff into the dry stuff. First of all, I really don't like waste. And second, more batter means more crispy. Once well coated, throw these in the fridge for half an hour. That's gonna firm up the egg whites and make the batter stick better to the cauliflower. It will also give us time to make the blue cheese dressing. In a little bowl, add 2 tablespoons of creme fraiche and a tablespoon of homemade mayo, you know, for the flex. A pinch of salt, a crack of black pepper, some garlic powder. Then mix it all up. Once everything is nice and homogeneous, we can crumble some of our blue cheese in. And be kind to yourself, you deserve it. Just don't get the cheapest stuff. Then mix the cheese in with the rest. Smear some of it with the back of the spoon against the bowl and keep mixing until you're happy with the consistency. Beautiful. We can also prep our hot sauce, which is super simple. In a small pan, heat up some of your hot sauce of preference. Ideally, you want Frank's Red Hot for the original buffalo recipe, but if it's not easily available, just use whatever you want. I'm using Cholula. Once the sauce gets bubbly, turn off the heat and stir in a cold knob of butter. And that's it. Your hot sauce is done. Okay, now that we have everything prepped, it's time to fry the cauliflower. In a deep pot, heat up some neutral oil, not more than halfway up. It's ready to fry when it starts shimmering. I like to lower the cauliflower in like that to avoid any splashing. Move the pieces around to make sure they don't stick and fry for 10 to 15 minutes. Or until they turn crispy and sizzling golden brown. Take them out to cool off on a wire rack and immediately season with salt while they're still hot. You have doubts about the crispiness? Check this out. You can just serve these with some hot sauce on the side and enjoy them as is. They're gonna be delicious either way. But we're making buffalo cauliflower, so we're not stopping here. Pour some of our hot sauce into a large bowl and add in the crispy cauliflower. Now toss like you've never tossed before. Serve these up with some of our blue cheese dressing, and that's our buffalo cauliflower done. Let's dig in. So, are these better than wings? They're definitely just as good. What do I prefer? I guess it depends on what you're in the mood for, unless you're a vegetarian, of course. But if you asked me, hey Ro, you want some wings or some cauliflower? I'd have to pause. Not for too long, but I'd have to pause. Do you know what I mean? Alright, so there you have it. Some of you will have no idea what that was. That is how TVs used to switch off back in the day. Okay, bye. No, really, get out of here. Roll out.